Let's kick things off with Igris, the first shadow that Sung Jin Woo ever named. And how can we forget that epic beatdown during the class change quest? The former Blood Red commander, as he was known, nearly sent Jin Woo to meet his maker, but our protagonist cleverly managed to snatch victory in the end. And after the quest wrapped up, he barely managed to extract the shadow. Igris' personality is one of a kind, a loyal and respectful shadow, to the point of kneeling before his master every time he finishes a battle. Here's a funny bit. He has this habit of bringing back enemy heads, but it kind of turned into a running joke when Iron started copying him and things got messy. And just like Jin Woo, Igris doesn't approve of Iron's silly antics, and usually gets pretty ticked off when Iron goes overboard in fights. But folks, when Igris levels up to a martial grade shadow, he becomes insanely powerful, turning into one of the strongest in the army, rivaling Beru and only surpassed by Bellion. The truth is, Igris' abilities are out of this world. He's the best swordsman in the army, a master of the hand-to-hand combat, with brute strength that even held back the Ice Monarch, who's ridiculously strong. He's got insane regeneration, mind-blowing speed and agility, and can even move objects without touching them thanks to the ruler's touch. At the end of the day, Igris is much more than just brute force. He's a strategist, loyal to the core, and has a crucial connection with Jin Woo. For all these reasons, he's definitely one of my favorites. So, what do you guys think about Igris? Tank, let's talk about the second shadow named by our protagonist Sung Jin Woo. I reckon he got his name because Jin Woo thought he was as big as a war tank. That's probably where the name came from. He's got these scratch marks around his eye and an X-shaped scar on his chest that give him a pretty badass look. The story of how Jin Woo found Tank goes back to that Red Gate incident. You know, that mission where everything went sideways and Jin Woo had to face off against those ice bears. Tank started as an elite grade shadow, but it didn't take long for him to level up to Knight. At that level, he can already go toe-to-toe with A-rank hunters without breaking a sweat. Tank's abilities, besides the standard shadow perks like regeneration and infiltration, include some pretty specific ice bear stuff. He literally thrives in icy environments and even deals extra damage there. He's also strong enough to plow through a horde of demons like they're bowling pins and take down a Naga with a single blow. And keep in mind, Nagas are A-rank monsters at the very least. That just shows how powerful he's become. At the end of the day, Tank is an incredible addition to Jin Woo's shadow army. He brings that necessary brute force, but he's also got the smarts to use in battle. It's like having a living, breathing tank of war. Now it's time to talk about Iron. This guy has a pretty different story from the other shadows. Iron looks a lot like he did when he was alive, and when he leveled up from elite to Knight grade, his axe got huge and kind of smoky. It gives the guy a really sinister look. Iron's story is pretty wild. He wasn't killed by Jin Woo, but by Igris during a battle against Beruka. Yeah, Jin Woo thought he needed more firepower and decided to keep Iron as a shadow. And it worked out, because together they managed to defeat the elf Beruka. But when Iron was alive, his name was Kim Chol, and he was a pretty arrogant guy and, well, not very smart. He showed up in that Red Gate arc, remember? He was the one who split the group in two, leaving Jin Woo out. And well, you know how that turned out? His team ended up fried and devoured by the Yetis. The craziest thing is that after becoming a shadow, Iron completely changed. He became super humble and loyal to Jin Woo. Bizarre, right? It's like he learned his lesson in the worst possible way. Iron is easily at the level of an S-rank hunter now. His strength is absurd. The guy can kill a giant with a single blow and drag a Vulcan's head with one hand. Iron has a unique ability called Shout of Provocation, which is a double-edged sword. While it attracts enemies away from more vulnerable targets, it also makes him a primary target. Its usefulness is situational and requires careful management. At the end of the day, Iron is an important piece in the Shadow Army. He serves as an excellent tank for the team, taking the hits while the others attack. Let's talk about Tusk, the shadow with the greatest magical power in the army. Jin Woo found him during the Hunter's Guild arc. He was Kargalan, a high-level orc shaman. And let's be real, the battle that the anime gave us was epic. Seriously, I don't think anyone expected it. The producers did an amazing job with the fight. It was insane action. After the battle, Jin Woo turned him into a shadow and named him Tusk. Now, talking about power, he's a general grade shadow, which already says a lot. But what makes him special is that he brought something that was missing in Jin Woo's army: magic. His abilities are out of this world. He has gravity magic that can lift enemies and slam them into the ground until they break. His magical barrier is so strong that even A-rank hunters couldn't break it when he was alive. And there's more. He can cast a gaze that causes fear in enemies. But the coolest things are his magic hymns. There's the hymn of burning fire that launches fireballs, the fire dragon hymn that breathes out flames, and several others to weaken enemies or strengthen allies. He can even put the whole team in berserk mode to increase their strength. Oh, and we can't forget about the Orb of Greed that Tusk carries. This thing amplifies his magical power in an absurd way. With this orb, Tusk even managed to make a hole in Monarch Baran. That's an incredibly high level. One thing I find really cool about Tusk is that he kept the intelligence he had when he was alive. So besides being a magical powerhouse, he also gives strategic advice to Jin Woo. It's like having an advisor and a super powerful mage in one package. In the end, Tusk completely changed the game for the Shadow Army. Before, the team was more focused on individual combat, but with Tusk, they gained area attacks, support, and strategy. Let's talk about Kaisel, the giant wyvern in Sung Jin Woo's epic mount. Kaisel's story is pretty interesting. He was Monarch Baran's mount before being defeated by Jin Woo. Then our protagonist used shadow extraction, and boom, new pet for the team. Oh, and the name Kaisel? That's because Jin Woo forgot his original name. Kaisel is an elite knight grade shadow. He has all those standard shadow abilities. The most curious thing about Kaisel is that he was never really used in a fight. Like with all that power, Jin Woo uses him more as transportation. It's like having a private jet, only much cooler. Kaisel is perfect for covering long distances that Jin Woo's shadow exchange can't reach. Like when Jin Woo needs to travel to another country or something, that's when Kaisel comes into action. An interesting thing to think about is Kaisel's potential in battle. We've never seen him actually fighting, but being an elite knight grade shadow and a former monarch's mount, he must be absurdly strong, right? Let's talk about Beru, also known as the Ant King, one of the most powerful shadows in Sung Jin Woo's army. Beru's raw strength is simply absurd. Before becoming a shadow, he was the most feared monster on Jeju Island. Created by the Ant Queen to lead the army and massacre anyone who got in their way, Beru did this job very well. He managed to eliminate 8 S-rank hunters with terrifying ease, making him one of the most dangerous attackers in Jin Woo's army. The fight between Beru and Jin Woo was epic, but even though he was absurdly strong, Beru was completely dominated by our protagonist. As a general grade shadow, Beru's power is impressive. He has insane strength capable of knocking out an archlich with a single blow. His speed is also crazy, able to fly from Jeju to Busan in a matter of minutes. But what really makes Beru special is his gluttony ability. This skill allows him to evolve and adapt by consuming other beings. It's as if every enemy he defeats makes him even stronger. Just imagine the potential of that. Over time, Beru can become absurdly more powerful, maybe even surpassing the limits we know. In the Shadow Army, Beru is a direct rival to Igris in terms of power, only surpassed by Bellion. He's fiercely loyal to his master and has a lighter side to his personality, even complimenting Jin Woo in the middle of a fight. A recurring joke involving Beru is his strange hobby of watching Korean period dramas, which made him develop an amusingly historical way of speaking. This often ends up being funny, adding an unexpected touch of humor to this powerful shadow's personality. In the anime, I thought his design left something to be desired, but even so, it's still worth watching the anime. Let's talk about Jima, a supporting shadow in Sung Jin Woo's army. Despite his unique appearance, a giant naga with black scales, sharp claws, bright purple fins on the shoulders, and a bright purple beard. He wields a pair of large black tridents, completing his intimidating look. As an elite knight grade shadow, Jima is on par with a common S-rank hunter. But an intriguing aspect of Jima is his unexplored potential, as there aren't many details about him. Perhaps with proper training and equipment, he could become one of Jin Woo's most powerful servants. Let's talk about Greed, one of the most intriguing shadows in Sung Jin Woo's army, whose origin is as fascinating as it is mysterious. I say this to avoid spoilers. Originally, he was a powerful S-rank hunter, known for his unwavering strength and determination. The path that led this imposing figure to become one of Jin Woo's most powerful shadows is full of twists and intense confrontations. His transformation occurred after a direct conflict with Jin Woo, an event that forever changed the course of their lives. As a shadow, Greed quickly established himself as one of the main combatants in Jin Woo's army. Greed's loyalty to Jin Woo, although initially forced, grew over time. Jin Woo didn't hesitate to give Greed harsh lessons about his new position, including a memorable moment where he made him bow as a general. What makes Greed truly special is his seemingly limitless potential. Each battle seems to only increase his strength, leading many to speculate about the true limit of his power. In short, Greed represents not just a powerful addition to Jin Woo's army, but also a fascinating enigma, whose past and future continue to intrigue both allies and enemies alike. Let's talk about Bellion, the Grand Marshal of Sung Jin Woo's Shadow Army, a truly legendary figure. His origin dates back to ancient eras, born from the fruit of the mythical world tree, whose branches were so vast they could cover the entire sky. This unique origin gives Bellion a power and aura that sets him apart even among the most powerful shadows. Bellion's appearance is as imposing as his history. Besides his black armor with golden details, he wields an extraordinary blade that resembles a giant centipede. This versatile weapon serves both as a deadly whip and a devastating sword, making Bellion an unpredictable and lethal opponent in combat. As Grand Marshal, Bellion takes his position extremely seriously. His loyalty to Jinwu is unshakable, reflecting his past as a lieutenant of Ashbourne, the original Shadow Monarch. In fact, Bellion has the distinction of being the first Shadow Soldier created by Ashbourne's power, a legacy he carries with pride and responsibility. Bellion's power is simply astounding. His physical strength is capable of crushing formidable opponents with ease, while his speed makes him almost impossible to keep up with in battle. Although he's not the best swordsman in the army, a title that belongs to Igris, his mastery with the sword and whip makes him a versatile and unpredictable combatant. Like all high-level shadows, Bellion possesses the ability to fly and communicate, as well as impressive regeneration as long as his master has mana. These abilities, combined with his millennial experience and unwavering loyalty, make Bellion not just a formidable warrior, but also an unparalleled leader and strategist for Jinwu's shadow army.